2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday the 14th of July and it's Pandemonium Day. And a big happy birthday to Conor McGregor, Anne Hegarty, Phoebe Waller-Bridge and David Mitchell. Things are heating up in the Tory leadership battle as 8 hopefuls become 6. They all needed to bag 30 votes from fellow MPs in the first round ballot, and Rishi Sunak came out on top with 88, while Suella Braverman just scraped through on 32. Sir Graham Brady of the 1922 committee announced the results.
2 candidates will be eliminated, Jeremy Hunt and Nadeem Zahawi. The others are all able to go forward to the second ballot, which takes place tomorrow.
International Trade Minister Penny Mordaunt, who polls out ahead of the other candidates with the Tory faithful, says the Conservative Party's failure was when it came adrift from its values.
Recently, I think our party has lost its sense of self. We have a war and we have a manifesto to deliver and standards and trust to restore.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's calling a confidence vote in his own government, which is expected to take place on Monday and is an attempt to block a similar Labour motion. And in Greater Manchester, Mayor Andy Burnham says the whole leadership campaign's a bit farcical, as candidates aren't addressing big issues like the cost of living crisis.
So this contest, I'm afraid, is not serious at the moment, and all of them need to put aside the gimmicks and the jibes at each other and set out how they will deal with the serious issues facing the country from day one.
Boris Johnson's first Prime Minister's question since he announced he'll stand down got off to a rather dramatic start. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer poked fun at the rearranged cabinet, including the Chancellor, who turned on the PM in the morning after he accepted his new job, and the Education Secretary, whose junior minister stuck her middle finger up at the public.
Mr. Speaker, may I welcome the new cabinet to their places? It is truly the country's loss that they will only be in post for a few weeks.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister had this to say about the candidates vying to replace him, sharing a catchy new nickname for the Labour leader.
Any one of them would wipe the floor with Captain Crasheroony's snooze fest, Mr. Speaker. And after a few weeks' time, that is exactly what they will do. They will unite around the winner and do just that.
Before all that back and forth, things got a bit rowdy when 2 MPs from Alex Salmond's Scottish Alba party were booted out of the Commons. Maybe Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle wanted to get some shouting practice in, as he's just been appointed honorary president of the Rugby Football League.
Neil Hamby, I am now naming you and Kenny McCaskill to leave this chamber. Sergeant, deal with them. Deal with them. Just sit down. Out! No! Sergeant at Arms, escort them out.
Police in Sri Lanka have been using tear gas on protesters at the Prime Minister's office. They're demanding he step down after the President, who's agreed to quit, bolted from the country on a military plane. People also stormed his home at the weekend to show their anger over the economic crisis there. A state of emergency has been declared and a curfew's been imposed in the Western Province. Nicole Johnson from Sky News described a crazy situation as police fired tear gas into the crowds.
The tear gas, it hasn't been a particularly violent protest at all. It was largely peaceful, and people had told us that they had no intention on trying to storm.
In true British fashion, we're all banging on about the weather, but things actually got serious on Wednesday when the Met Office warned the heatwave could be deadly. It's expected to peak next Monday and Tuesday, with climate experts predicting extreme weather events like this could become the norm. Ambulance services are under pressure and are all at their highest alert level, and Jason Killins from the Welsh Ambulance Service wants us to be careful.
The extreme heat will affect those that are vulnerable, so the very old and the very young, but also those with existing conditions, particularly those with breathing or heart conditions, for example. So the public can help us whilst we're at this extreme period of pressure by only dialing 999 in a genuine emergency, and of course accessing healthcare through 111, local pharmacies and other services for less significant and serious conditions.
Still to come on the Smart 7, justice for Liverpool over Champions League scenes and Pete Davidson's on a killing spree.
Right after this. Welcome back.
3,
A French Senate report found Liverpool supporters were unfairly blamed for those chaotic scenes outside May's Champions League final, where police used tear gas on the crowds and thousands couldn't even get in to watch the match. Ticketless fans were initially thought to be responsible, but it's now being put down to a chain of events and malfunctions by the organisers. Meanwhile, there's major transfer news for Chelsea as they've bagged Raheem Sterling from Premier League champions Man City. The England international signed for 5 years and cost the Blues £47.5 million. Chelsea's Mason Mount says he'll be a big presence at the club.
He's someone who's been there for a very long time, since when did he make his debut? 17, 18? So he's a top player and I've learned a lot off him over the last couple of years, so for him to be joining us, he's only going to bring our levels higher.
Star Wars actor Hayden Christensen's been chatting to Jimmy Fallon about the power of the Darth Vader suit. I don't know about the Force, but the smell must be strong as he admits to sweating buckets in it. Christensen returned to play the fallen Jedi in Disney's Obi-Wan Kenobi series and said people are usually very confident, become just a little bit more timid and shy around him.
It's an amazing costume to get to put on. It's an honor to get to wear it, but definitely the best part is just seeing people's reaction, when they see Vader.
Is it easy to see out of those eye things?
No, I mean, it's very limited visibility, but when someone does sort of come across your field of vision,
they're frightened.
You see the sort of the change in their demeanor.
Horror lovers have been treated to the latest trailer for American black comedy slasher film Bodies, 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 starring Maria Bakalova from 2020's Borat 2 and Mr. Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson. It's based around a party game among friends in a remote family mansion that leads to, you guessed it, murder. So how do you play this game?
If you draw the piece of paper that has the X on it, you are the murderer. Let's go.
Cool.
And if you're the murderer, you have to kill someone by touching them on the back.
The most important part, if you come across a body, you have to yell,
"Body, body, body!"
Wow. Is that the lights?
David?
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.